Hey builders, if you ever find yourself needing to use JSON schema in BuildShip, you'll be relieved to know that a special schema input exists. What is JSON schema, I hear you asking? Well, it's this. I know, it's ugly, verbose, and complicated. But essentially, it's a blueprint or set of rules for your data. Fortunately, in BuildShip, there's a much easier way to handle this by using the schema input. Just by doing that, we now get a beautiful visual representation of the JSON schema, which is easily customizable. Now let's dive into a practical use case for the schema input. A necessary and practical use case of using the schema input is whenever you want to use the JSON generator OpenAI node. You can use this node to extract structured data from an input and return it in JSON format. Now, under the hood, this node is using the Structured Outputs API from OpenAI. If we scroll down on the documentation, we'll come to an example. So in this example, it's using the Structured Outputs API to extract event information from the given input. So if we look at this input here, Alice and Bob are going to a science fair on Friday. Just below that, we'll see the JSON schema. Again, if this term is unfamiliar to you, then don't worry too much about it. The easiest way to think about this is that JSON schema basically tells the system what your data should look like and checks if it follows the rules. So for instance, we have an object, and in that object, we have 3 fields. First, for the name, which is of type string. Second, for the date, which is of type string. And lastly, for participants, which is an array type, where each entry is of a type string. Now let's see how we can replicate this example in BuildShip. So the first thing we'll do here is copy the system prompt, and we'll go back to our workflow. And here is our JSON generator node. We'll paste that value as the instructions to use. And then we'll go back to the documentation and copy the input text here. And we'll paste that here. And now we need to start defining our schema. We'll open up the schema input, and we're going to delete these existing values, and we're going to start from scratch. The first thing that we'll need to enter here will be for the name. So in BuildShip, it's dead simple to do this. You just add a new field. After that, you can select the field type. We'll leave it as a string. And then we just need to enter the field name, which is name. On the right-hand side, we can go to the settings. And here you'll find even more schema configuration that you can customize for any given field. For example, you can set the minimum length or the maximum length. You can select a format. So maybe you want your field to be an email or a URL. And you can optionally provide a description. For this demo, we don't need to configure any of this. Let's add our second field. If we go back to the documentation, we can see that this will be the date field. So we'll just add a new field. This will be of type string, and the field name is date. Let's enter the final field, which is the participants. So we'll go back to BuildShip. We'll add a new field. This time, we'll select an array. And for our field name, we'll enter participants. Below that, there's even an option for you to specify the field types for the individual array items. But in our case, we want an array to store a list of strings, so we can just leave this set to string. And that's it for our JSON schema. It's that simple. Let's test our JSON generator node. And will you look at that? We're getting the exact fields we specified in our JSON schema. We have the event name, the event date, and the event participants. Give BuildShip schema input a try today and let us know what you think. That's all for this video. We'll catch you in the next.